Sabah everybody and welcome back to the channel. In today's video, we're going to do a tips and tricks, the first 10 things you need to do to your Galaxy S20 line of devices, either be it the 20, the 20 Plus, or even the 20 Ultra when you get it out of the box to be able to get the best experience out of the box with your brand new Samsung device. This is TK and this is the Galaxy S20 Ultra. Let's check them out. Like and subscribe and make sure you hit that bell icon so that you're always notified whenever we have new videos on the channel. So the features that we're going to cover today are more specific to the One UI option as well as the fact of what the S20 Ultra has, but I'll also explain to you guys some of the features, how they break down to the S20 and the S20 Plus. First and foremost, the S20 Ultra obviously has the biggest display, the 6.9-inch display, and of course the S20 Plus has the 6.7 and the S20 has the 6.2-inch display. So you kind of have a gradual drop down in size as well as battery capacity. But they all have a gorgeous display that obviously has a front-facing camera that's a punch hole style camera. And we'll talk a little bit more and I'll explain to you guys how I was able to do this little basically background, which actually works really nice specifically from your lock screen into your UI and just keeps Spidey kind of going up and down. And I'll show you some of the other options we have there. But first and foremost, I would say tip number one, or even before we start the tips, update your device. There is an update that needs to be pushed out to your device right away, and that update will basically fix some of the camera issues that people have been reporting with the S20 line of devices. So under software update, you'd go ahead and go download and make sure that you're running March 3rd security patch update, and the updates should have already been pushed out to almost all the Samsung devices. So first thing out of the box, make sure you update your device. So let's go ahead and start off with my top 10 things that you need to do. First thing we'll start off is the power button, or what is currently basically a Bixby button. So let's go ahead and unlock the device. We'll go ahead and use face unlock real quick. And if I press and hold the if I press and hold the power button, as you notice, it tried to launch the Bixby feature. Out of the box, Samsung for some reason turns this feature on for the button here that we have, which is generally used as a power button. To be able to actually use the power functionality to turn on or turn off the device or restart it, you actually have to go into the notification panel. You'll notice that there's this little button there, and that's where you get it. So that's the current setup out of the box. That's not the way you can keep it all the time, although you are able to. Personally, if you need to use Bixby, I would recommend you keeping it there. Otherwise, for me, what I like to do is I go into the side button remapping, and I change that to be a power button. And it also has a double function, which essentially is if you double press it, it takes directly into a camera, which is the default setting. Or you can actually reassign Bixby to be the double press, or even customize it to open a specific app for you. So let's say you want to be able to open up Instagram, Twitter, your favorite music application. All of these things can be mapped to this button, and it's out of the box, very, very nice. So if we go back here, now if I press and hold, I get the power button the way I want it, and I can change that whenever I want. Now, of course, the second thing we always want to make sure to do here is, since we've updated the device, we fixed the power button, we want to be able to make sure to get our biometric setup information in here. So make sure you set up your fingerprint sensor. So for me, here we are, I'm using my fingerprint sensor. The ultrasonic fingerprint sensor is present ever so slightly right there. Let's go ahead and turn off the display. And they give you an indicator so you know exactly where to put your finger. And it doesn't need to be very long. You just basically press and hold, remove, and it unlocks. Face unlock is also here. Let's go ahead and swipe up. Works really good. And of course, if I want to, I can also swipe it up and basically just use a pin. All of these options should be configured right out of the box. This is an expensive device and you don't want anybody accidentally or just getting into it right away. So depending on the way you got your device, you may or may not be receiving this little packet. Now, this little packet is the smart switch adapter that used to be included out of the box, well, in the box always. So this was something that you always found in the device. It's right under the power brick, and you used to be able to just use it with a smart switch to transfer your data. So let's go ahead and jump into smart switch. If we go under account and backup, there's an option right there. It's called smart switch. And by default, smart switch kind of basically goes in. It says getting most out of your S20 Ultra. So I'll go ahead and say okay. So I can do either backup or restore cloud, Samsung Cloud, or smart switch. So I'll go ahead and go into smart switch directly. And this is how it looks like for the main interface when you first get it. You'll notice right there, it does have an indicator for the SD card since I have one in here. But what you do want to know is that you can send or receive data. So let's say I'm receiving data. This is my brand new device. I'm able to transfer it from either a Galaxy, an iPhone, or Windows. Basically, you can pick it out and you can pick either a cable or wireless. Now, the cable needs the OTG adapter. This is the weird thing. It's still functional and it still works, but if you don't have this adapter, you're going to be needing to use wireless. So if you're purchasing this directly from Samsung, make sure you check the box that says, I do want the OTG. It's a free adapter. It should be still included in the box, even though the price went up on the S20 line of devices. We're starting to get less things in the box. But again, this will help you do the wired. Otherwise, you can do wireless. And of course, at that point, it just takes a little bit longer. I always feel like wired is always the fastest method to transfer all of our basically pictures, contacts, even text messages, MMS messages, all of the things that you want to transfer, videos, anything that you want, even applications from your old device to your new device very easily using Smart Switch. And it's a built-in app. If it's not installed on the device that you're coming from, just download it from the Google Play Store and you're pretty much set. So the next thing we're going to talk about is the beautiful display. So go into the settings tab and we're going to go into the display panel, and that's going to give us a few things that we can do. So we're going to start off by talking about the fact that the first option you get is dark mode. So out of the box, it's set to be on light mode. If you prefer this, obviously you can keep it. That's not a recommendation to change. For me, I personally like to have dark mode, and as you notice, it does actually permeate throughout the UI. Even the notification shade, and if applications support them, we'll turn it on for them. So that's the first thing you want to do. The second thing we want to be able to do is the ability of getting into and setting up the actual display resolution / speed. And what I mean by speed is smooth motion. So what they're calling here is motion smoothness, and that's basically the refresh rate that's currently running on the device. Out of the box, the device is set to be at 1080p, so I'll go ahead and hit apply. And of course, resolution here is full HD. So out of the box, we get full HD plus, so that's not the full resolution of the display, which is a QHD display. And we get under the smooth factor, so we'll go ahead and motion smoothness, we have it at 60 Hertz. That's typical to what we've had before with other Samsung devices, so basically at 1080p and 60 Hertz. But now we have the ability of jumping to 120 Hertz. Now the reason why I didn't change it to QHD before is because we cannot jump to this feature to 120 Hertz, and you can see the benefit here. Let's go ahead and turn it on, and I'll hit apply. Once we get into the smooth motion at 120 Hertz, you can actually see the difference in basically how the resolution is. And what I mean by this is the display refreshes at 120 times per second. The touch sensitivity on this is up to 240 Hertz, which means it's actually much more touch responsive to us. So you get the best function out of the speed on this device at 1080p. If you do decide to, and let's say you do want to get the higher resolution over the higher speed, switching over to WQHD Plus enables you to do so, but you'll notice right there, it'll change the standard refresh rate, which means when we go back to smooth motion or motion smoothness, we're back to 60 Hertz. So just keep that in mind. You have to make a decision. Either you're using the 120 Hertz at 1080p, or you're using the QHD Plus, which is the QHD display at 60 Hertz. So that's the decision we need to make, and that's made under the display settings. And of course, right after that, we can also get into the navigation bar and be able to turn on gestures. Now, gestures have a few functions. Out of the box, the device comes in with buttons. So those are the ones that you see here. So home, recents, back, and you can switch the order to your liking. I personally like to use gestures, as navigation gestures make things a lot easier. Also, it makes the device even bigger because it gives us full access to the display all the way to the bottom part. We can customize how the buttons work, so you can see right there. And of course, you can see how that there is the additional gesture, which is a one button gesture. You can change the sensitivity, go back, and what it enables us to do, basically, I can swipe up from the middle, get into the Recents app, and I'll explain to you guys how I have these Recents app in a second. And of course, I can swipe from the side to go back, and I can go back again. That function that I just showed you, jumping between two applications using the back button, actually let's take out the hint and then show button keyboard, is essentially a function of a different application called one-handed mode, and we'll talk about that. But again, gestures are definitely in, and of course, all of these things are built into the display section. So that would definitely be my recommendation. Dark mode, display setting as far as hertz versus quality of the display, and of course, make sure you turn on navigation gestures. Now, the next thing we're going to talk about is the ability of actually reaching the top part of our display. So out of the box, as you notice, this is a very large display. There's no way I can reach to it. It ends up basically being a two-handed functionality. The launcher that we have built into the Samsung devices does have some gestures built in, but by default, it takes us directly into the app drawer both ways. So I can keep swiping in every direction, I'm going to get the same thing. If I swipe from the left, I'm getting access directly to the Samsung Daily. This is a new function. You'd have to set it up. And of course, swiping right just gets us to any other pages that we have installed. There is a fix for that, and it is built into the Samsung UI, but it is not turned on by default. Pressing and holding the background gives us the ability of doing a couple of things. I can keep or disable the Samsung Daily, so if you don't want it, just disable the page, and every time I go home, I can no longer bring it up. And if I want to bring it back in, just press and hold, and just go back in here, turn it on. Very easy, very simple. We can go into themes, wallpaper, widgets, all of those things, and we'll talk about the wallpaper in a second. But under the actual application itself, for the settings itself, there's of course a swipe down for notification panel, which I feel like should be turned on right away. You can also customize the layout of the screen, the home screen, and the app screen, and of course you can change it to be even higher. That's the maximum 5:6, and if you're depending on the resolution that you're using, And of course, under the application, it is set to be at the highest. You can go smaller if you want to make the icons bigger. And the best way to do this, obviously, is just using a finger, swipe down every time you want. And if you swipe up, it still takes you into the app drawer. So very simple, very nice. And you should definitely do this out of the box because it makes things much easier one-handed. And of course, you can open it up all the way, not just one-handed mode, of course. So the next thing you can do to customize your device is actually downloading an application straight from the Galaxy Store, and it's actually called Good Lock. It's compatible with the brand new S20 line of devices, and it has a lot of options to go through. But the main ones I want to share with you guys, obviously, is the thing that enables me to do. Let's go ahead and here, and let's go ahead and swipe into Recents. You'll notice how my Recents app actually is very different than what we normally see with an Android, and that's because of Task Changer. So that's some of my favorite modules. You can customize it, you can change it to basically be carousel, list, grid, all of the stuff that you want. And of course, if you just turn it off, it just goes back to standard. Let's go ahead and go back. And this is a standard Android option. So turning it back on makes things very, very easy. And of course, you can use gestures to be able to basically swipe and go into the other applications. Very easy to set up, downloading Good Lock and then picking it directly under the unit. It's called Task Changer. The next thing I want to talk to you guys about is Theme Park as well as one-handed operation. One-handed operation is what enables me to be able to switch between applications. So right there, this is the one-handed operation basically module, swiping back by just doing this way, and I can go here, go back. And I can customize these buttons to work as opposed to basically just having gestures at the bottom, making it easier whenever we're using it one-handed. So exactly here, I can just keep swiping all the time, and of course hit back and everything takes me back here. So very simple, and you can customize it, and there's different options to customize the gestures. There's a standard go back, go up, and go down, and then gives you the ability of customizing them. Very good. And of course, very simple, just download directly under the family tab. It's called One-Handed Operation Plus, or you could just download it straight as a separate application straight off the Google Play Store. And the last one I want to talk to you guys about is Theme Park, which is a really, really cool application to be able to customize the theme on your device by enabling you to actually change the wallpaper. So depending on how your wallpaper is, you notice how it is here, it can customize the backgrounds, the colors, and you can change the style and all the different things. And I've done a separate video for you guys on this on the S10 Plus, which enables us to basically get, or even on the Galaxy Fold, just to get the best theme for the wallpaper, especially if you like to change your wallpapers as much as I do. Now, the next thing you want to be aware of, obviously, is the cameras on this device is going to be amazing, as well as basically what we've seen with the S20 and the S20 Plus. There's a few things that were added here that you need to be aware of. First is the single take functionality, and this enables us to actually take, it's like a short video, a little bit of a video that takes pictures and videos directly of you. So let's go ahead and switch over to the front-facing camera. You can see it here. I'm going to go ahead and start and do a real quick one. And the way it works essentially is that when I go into the actual application, you notice it took a short video. This is the picture that it decided to pick that was a good one. Created a little bit of a quick video, black and white here, a little bit of a bokeh, changed the basically the different options. And of course you can pick out and just choose which one you want. But the really cool thing about it is if let's say you're using this on a child or even basically an activity with some friends, this works great because it generates for you almost like a nice little curated list. The next thing I want you guys to be aware of is that the S20 line of devices, because they're supported with the brand new Snapdragon 865, offer us the ability of doing a different set of resolutions. So on the rear camera, the highest resolution you're able to do is 8K at 24 frames per second. That's the best thing you could do, and that's using the back sensor, since we have the 108 megapixel sensor on the back. But it is also something we can do with the S20 and the S20 Plus. We can of course go into obviously 1080p, 4K 60 frames per second, or even 1080p 60 frames per second. Of course, full screen as well as 1:1 for social media. When you switch over to the front, we don't have 8K, but we do have 4K 60 frames per second, which is definitely a nice upgrade from what we had last year with Samsung devices, especially if they were running the 855 processor. So those are a few things with the camera. The next application I want to talk to you guys about is called UltraPix. So UltraPix is an application specifically made to basically provide us wallpapers that are optimized to work with the punch hole camera that's present here on the S20 line of devices. So first and foremost, this live wallpaper that you see here, obviously as you see, Spidey is in here. I'll go ahead and lock the device, unlock it. It is also my live wallpaper. I can go ahead and unlock my device, and as I unlock it, the animation continues between the front screen and the back, and then in the home screen. So that's some of the main benefits of having this. And they have a curated list of basically wallpapers that they're adding more and more. You'll notice there's some Goku stuff. That was Vegeta, not Goku, but again, you have different animation, and they're all optimized to work with the punch hole, essentially blending the punch hole into the actual background. So you'll notice right there, if I open this one up, it actually positions where the ear will be where the punch hole is, and you can customize it this way and use it. There are some live options here. Those are the live wallpapers, and that's the Spidey that we're looking at. There's also some really hot ones that are available. You'll notice Vegeta definitely falls in there. I'm really happy about that. And it's easy and it's simple to download. And of course, there's God of War there's Kratos, there's Aquaman, Panda, Tom and Jerry, of course Pac-Man, Ragnarok, all the good stuff. And they're adding more and more stuff. Again, UltraPix is designed and it'll work perfectly for your device. And it also works with the Galaxy Z Flip if you have that one as well. Now, the last thing I want to share with you guys is very, very nice, because this is something you probably will not notice. If you change the volume on your device, and we'll go ahead and go open up the menu automatically, we have an option here called a live caption. And I'll explain to you what this means. Live caption enables us to basically use whatever audio is being presented from our device, be it a video or an audio playback, and it will actually transcribe it on your display, enabling us to actually, as you notice right there, shut off the audio on my videos. So let's go ahead and turn on a video that I just posted for you guys. So I posted this video yesterday for you guys, so I'll go ahead and turn it on. And you'll notice right there, there's no audio, but here it is. The caption is right there. And of course, if we're watching video on this device, let's go ahead and go full screen. It actually just translates there and it stays on depending what you're doing. And the beauty of it is it actually is live and it's done on device. So you're not having to send this information to the cloud and come back, and it works great. Currently only supporting English, sadly, but keep in mind, hopefully we'll see more languages present. And of course, if I want to disable it, all I have to do is hit the volume rocker one more time, open up the menu and disable it from there. Very simple, very easy. And this will also be where you change the media keys if you want to be able to use them automatically for media, as opposed to just resetting the ringtone out of the box. So you notice right there, this is the ringtone. And of course I can change it to be media. And of course that by default, it just automatically makes it media. Anything and everything can be possibly done on the S20 line of devices. I hope you guys enjoyed these tips and tricks. And again, the goal of this video was to show you guys how to get the best out of your device right out of the box. Now, for some reason, some of these features are not either turned on or just basically set to a standard mode when they're out of the box. But for me, swiping down to open up the notification panel should be a standard. The power button should be basically where that is. And if you want to be able to open up Bixby, you can configure it. Of course, customizing the dark mode and of course gestures. The refresh rate is something that you want to basically play around with. We do have bigger batteries to accommodate either a higher resolution display or a higher refresh rate. And I'm hoping at some point in the future, Samsung will enable us to have both at the same time, meaning basically a QHD resolution with 120 Hertz. I know the Snapdragon 865 can support up to 144 Hertz based on the Qualcomm Summit that we had last year. So all of these things hopefully will provide you the best experience. Let me know in the comments below, what is your ritual for setting up your device when you first obviously set it up? Obviously outside of just transferring your data, and of course Smart Swiss here is very, very nice. Like and subscribe as usual. Thank you very much for the support, and hope you guys are enjoying your brand new Galaxy S20 device, be it the 20, the 20 Plus, or the 20 Ultra. And let me know. I'll talk to you guys in the next video.